Another way to say connect, convey, convince, or associations, context, objections, is basically audience, problem, solution. Right? So part of connecting is, I mean, this might seem like very silly and stupid, but if you just name the audience, you've already covered 50% of connecting. We'll see that in a bit. Just naming the audience. Knowing what the audience calls themselves is vital, right? So if, what do you call yourselves, the participants of Math Skills? Who do we have here? Okay, so what if I were to say a word that when you hear it, you're like, yeah, that's me. What would that word be?
Trainers. Social media.
Social media, Math
Trainers. But we have for the groups and each group has a name.
Right. So if I'm trying to write an invitation email to get you all to come to an event, and I'm like, an outsider sitting in my studio, and I'm like, so these are guys who are in social media and they want to be good at it and all this, and I send you an email saying, social influencers, come to this meeting and all this. Did this trigger any one of you?
No.
I can see by the blank look in your eyes.
We haven't gone that far.
Right? But if I say social media trainers or trainees,
Yeah, that would be
It's Math Skillers
Okay.
is secret.
so you on this side experience the difference and the reaction. And that's what just naming the audience, that's the power of just naming the audience, knowing what they call themselves. And just putting it in your text, putting it the first word. It's as trivial as that. The audience will not notice it because they'll be busy waving at themselves. So this is state the audience. The next thing is state the problem. A lot of people start with the solution, right? And I can come to you and I'm like, hey, did you know about this great tool that does this and this and this and this? And you'd be like, I discovered Timely, right? And Timely allows you to like put all of these tweets and it will take care of tweeting them itself. Yeah, so does Hootsuite, and so does TweetDeck, and so does all of these. But if I come to you and I'm like, do you know that when you use Hootsuite, you have to spend a lot of time figuring out how to time each tweet. You have to calculate the difference between each tweet and the next. You have to, if you're queuing tweets for 2 days, this can take like 2 or 3 hours to do it. And then maybe the times that you've chosen are times where everyone's sleeping, right? Because you're a night owl. Okay? What Timely does is, all you have to do is, I'm not selling Timely, I don't get commission. It's just an example that came to my mind. So, what Timely does is, all you do is just queue your tweets without thinking of time, without thinking of gaps between them, without thinking of all of that. And what Timely does is it actually calculates all of your followers. It figures out the times that all of your followers are actually reading your tweets, and it feeds them these tweets at the times they're most active reading your Twitter stream. You get it, right? You can't say like, yeah, but this does this. So
That's what you did when you first told me about something.
right.
Remember? That's how you convinced me.
I used them. I used the. Let's not call them tricks. Okay. So, and a lot of, and this brings us to objections. A lot of objections that a lot of people get when they say like state the problem. They're like, we don't want to be too negative, right? We don't, especially if they're talking about their businesses or their own. I mean, imagine I'm talking about TEDxBeirut and I start talking about all the problems that TEDxBeirut has, right? And people say, we don't want to be too negative, right? The The difference is that we're not actually being negative. We're stating something that we have solved. Because, and this brings us, for example, to like you said, so when we under-promise or when we set lower expectations, we might be too halna, right? And that's the same thing. If you wait long enough to get to the solution, then you realize that you're not actually being negative because you're not nagging. There's a problem between nagging. There's a difference if I came and tell you about all the problems of Hootsuite and what all that take, and I'm like, what can we do? I mean, it's it's a shitty world, right? That's nagging. That's being negative. I'm offering alternatives. I'm offering solutions, and people connect with that, basically. And then after, so it's as simple, just like stating the audience is extremely simple, stating the problem is extremely simple. Stating the solution is even simpler because it's the reverse of the problem. You don't have to get creative while stating what the solution is. You don't have to impress. You don't have to do all of this. If I come and tell you, I need to come up with a good example. Okay, let's say having a 9 to 5 in having a 9 to 5 is a really stressful job. And I have a stress-free solution for you. She's smiling, she's smiling. All I did was just reverse the problem. I said, that's the problem, and now I have the opposite. Right? And you're like, what's the question that came to your minds? Yeah, how do you do that? What do you mean by that? And now the audience gave you their consent for you to convince them, to diffuse the objections, right? And it's not about like stating the process. So I'm not going to come and tell you, you wake up at 6 and you get in your car and you do this. That's the process, right? After just stating the solution, just name what it is very roughly, in a very general way. For example, all I could say is, you would still be an employee, but the application that we have allows you to work from anywhere without leaving your company, while being with your children, etc. I didn't come and tell you how the application works, which is the process. I didn't come and tell you how the application does that. This comes when people are with you and they're convinced and they want to be part of what it is that you're saying. Then you go deeper into the process, into basically the how rather than the what. Okay? I think, is this the... Okay. What did I want to say here? I'll get to it. Okay. So, this is the email that you sent for the third saloon. Okay? You'll see a bit of all of these things that I'm saying here. Maybe I could let you spot them. So this is the third saloon. Hella said that, from the picture, she said that they were targeted to a younger audience. And we wanted from the third saloon to target them to an older audience. So just let me know, just raise your hand and let me know what you spot from everything that we've been discussing. Yes?
You named the audience.
Right. Professionals. As simple as that. What else?
Give them testimonial.
Right. What else?
Set a deadline for the delivery of the last one to be done. So hurry up, grab your chance.
Right, so if they don't, they miss out on this because that's the last opportunity for them to experience this. What's even more important is that, and this has to do also with credibility and with being honest and truthful. If I name the audience, if I say professionals, and basically no professionals will actually be at the event, right? I'm losing credibility. If I say professionals, and the event is happening at LAU, why would professionals believe me that LAU is going to be filled with professionals? And so it's not only the writing, it's all of these signs around the writing that justify what you're telling, that allow your audience to convince themselves. And that's why, can I find it? Where? Monroe Hotel. Okay? So, it's a hotel, it's a Monroe Hotel. Now professionals and Monroe Hotel, they go together. We purposely chose the audience, the location, to match the audience, and then we named it, and we made it credible. And we were real, we're not lying. It's really Monroe Hotel, and they're really professionals. I'll probably get to this later on again.
Did you use the same strategy for the first salon and the second salon? Did you have like target audience just students? Or
In the first two salons, we knew that the location by itself will target students. What we were doing is we wanted, and this also comes from a problem that I've always had. I mean, I'm a big fan of TED, and I use the story. That's why I said in the beginning, watch how I convey what I'm saying, rather than just what it is that I'm saying. I used to watch a lot of TED Talks, and I'm a big fan of them. I still do. And I realized that one day I actually was talking to a friend, and he's like, wow, you know TED too? And we've been friends for years. And no one knew that the other person watches TED Talks and is a fan of these. And as I started going to the weekly saloons that Patricia, the curator, was doing, the curator context, because someone's going to say, like, who's Patricia? Right? And it becomes a distraction. So Anna, I'll keep on talking, but people are stuck trying to figure out who Patricia is. So don't put traps for your audience. Don't put distractions that distract them away from what you're trying to convince. Right? And then we realized that I'm meeting a lot of myself. I'm waving to a lot of people like myself who have been long fans of TED.com, but nobody knew the other person. And so the ultimate aim was to really uncover those people and create the community, put them together. And like Anna said, every single one of the TEDxBeirut community had this longing for it. We just had to make them find each other. And this comes from, this is when I wrote the why, which I'll get to in a bit, the why of TEDxBeirut Saloons. Through TEDxBeirut Saloons, we inspire to bring the local TED community together once a month until the main TEDxBeirut event on the 24th of September. 200 TEDsters made the second saloon a full house and a great success. So just this sentence, we put it everywhere, we put it on our roll-ups, we put it data. Why, I mean, when people ask you, why are you doing all this? All we want to do is we want to bring the local TED community together once a month, so that when TEDxBeirut happens, they've already met, they already know each other, they've already networked, they already experienced the feeling of belonging. And then they look forward to this day so that they could belong together in one space, sharing ideas, basically.
So the emails for the first two salons, you focused on bringing TEDsters together.
Right.
It wasn't just the fashion.
Right. So we didn't specify an age bracket, we didn't specify an industry, we didn't
But
specify.
you knew the age group already from the venue.
We realized what the age group is after the events happened, because it wasn't something that we were thinking about. And basically the first two salons were so successful in doing that, that after the second saloon we got 50 volunteers just from that saloon. It's 50 volunteers. And because these are the people who were longing, these are the people who were waiting for it. They couldn't believe that it's happening right now, and they wanted to be a part of it.